Battle Royale is still one of like the biggest game modes in the world, guys. I mean, you could argue that it is. I mean, when you look at BR as a mode from Fortnite to Warzone to Apex Legends, so on and so forth, this is without question what we feel could be like the wave of the future. I mean, it's really like the game mode of the future. And then, of course, it's going to spin off into a number of things like we see with Apex Legends. Apex was not only, they start as a BR and now they're kind of implementing team deathmatch into it and they're doing like 3v3 and they're doing different game modes within the title and they're branching it out. So it started as one thing and then it's branched out. Fortnite, same thing. They've got, obviously started as it really started to Save the World, then of course the BR mode, and then it's kind of evolved and had all kinds of modes within that. That being said, though, what's going to be the next big BR title that comes out? And obviously, guys, these are going to be mine and Glassy's opinions, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about this in the comment section down below. What game franchise do you think would make the most sense? Because I think really, obviously it'd be easy to say, oh, it's going to be a new BR from a studio that we don't know much about, and the game isn't a major franchise. It's just going to be like a brand new IP altogether. That'd be easy to say that it definitely could be that. But let's talk about current franchises and what makes the most sense. So I'll go first, Glassy. For me, the one that made the most sense to me was, without question, was Halo. And here's why. Halo Infinite, when obviously this got announced, it was like, okay, so Halo's coming back, and it looks like it's coming back in a major way. And it did come back in a major way. I mean, Halo Infinite, free-to-play multiplayer, awesome. Campaign, basically an open world scenario, awesome. But I've always felt like Halo kind of met that kind of trajectory that this could be something that is in the world of BR, or in having that mode at least. And here's what my vision of it would look like is you drop down like an ODST. So you're dropping down, you're an ODST, and then you have at your fingertips Forge mode. So implementing Forge mode into a BR could be Fortnite-esque almost, but they could do so many interesting things. I believe that if they took a BR, they have Forge mode, which is not released as of yet, guys. It's going to be coming at some point in the future, and you merge the two worlds somehow, or at least a game mode where the Forge and BR is merged, you could have something huge on your hands. And I believe that it was a massive mistake by 343 not to launch Forge mode or wait to launch the entire game until Forge mode was ready, because the Halo Infinite multiplayer is massive right now. I mean, there is no debate about it. It is awesome. It's massive, but it is being riddled with a number of issues. People are not getting banned. They will not ban people right now, and it's starting to turn people off. I do believe they're going to get that together, but if Forge mode was out, people would at least be creating maps. They would be, creating their own sandboxes of all kinds of different maps and places that they could play. I know Dr. Disrespect would probably for sure be on there creating a map for the esports scene of Halo. It's one of those games that I just feel like with Forge mode makes so much sense. Now there's others, but I'll let you go, Glassy. Is there a game out there that you feel could do well with a BR mode, outside of obviously the ones that we have currently? What are your thoughts on BR, and what game do you think could do well with a battle royale mode?
I'm not 100% sure because everything that they have out right now is actually pretty spot on for different BRs. Halo, I'm not too convinced would be a good BR because of the style of game it is. So, you've got Call of Duty, which is mainly a flick shooter. You flick, you plan, you be quiet, you create scenarios for your opponent, and you try to flank them or do anything like that. With Halo, it's mainly a TTK game, which is a time to kill, and you've just got to hit your shots and get the kill and move on. It's not a flick shooter. The only time it is a flick shooter is if you have something like a sniper or a rocket or anything like that. But then you make it too hard. It's not really easy to plan a flank or anything like that. It's basically just a running style killer game. So I'm not sure how that one would do unless it was like a bigger where they have the big team and you have an actual team going against it. So let's say like teams of 4 instead of just teams of 1 by yourself, because now you've got teams that will plan together how to create the game, because Halo is a team game. It's definitely not a single player game really to go out there and play by yourself against other people other than a free for all, which is 8 players already. So I think if they did it like maybe 100 players, 4 teams, 25 different teams placing off against each other in a very large, diverse map, I think that would be a good idea. But having it just like a solo mode or a duo mode might be a little difficult. But every other game that's out there right now, whether it be Fortnite, Apex, Call of Duty, or Battlefront, I think that they're pretty solid, and they've definitely anchored their way into creating a battle royale mode.
Yeah. Well, the other one for me, that I could see happening. I don't know if it's something that would happen. And there's been talk about it, and it was a topic we talked about a little bit earlier, is Gears of War. You know, Gears has been behind the curve with a number of different areas in, you know, when it comes to gaming as a whole. It was one, we were talking about it being one of the top, you know, shooters out there, and it just over time it just didn't keep up with the times very well, and they were innovating a number of different game modes and such, but BR to me with Gears would make some sense, because obviously this would give, you know, if you, especially if it's free to play and such, people are at least going to try it out. They're going to see what it's all about. And if Gears has a free to play multiplayer, that's going to help even more. But BR, like, you could have an emergence hole like that is slowly but surely becoming bigger and bigger, and locusts come onto the map, and you're, you know, obviously fighting other, you know, other teams and such, other squads or whatever, while there's corpsers on the map, while the emergence hole is getting bigger and bigger, and that's kind of like the storm almost. I think there's a number of concepts that could work for Gears, but at the end of the day, the reason why I say Gears of War overall is because I think it needs to, as a game, it needs to continue evolving as a franchise. And BR, I know it seems cliche because it's like, well, what, you know, it's just, you know, another big, you know, AAA title that's getting a BR mode. I think if you went about it in a certain way, it could do well. I truly believe that people, I think, would at least try it, especially if it's free. And then, you know, it creates a culture, it creates a community around it alone. I mean, Apex, you know, they didn't even use the Titanfall name in Apex Legends, and they created this community around it. Titanfall was almost like, you know, it had a niche community. It was like dead in the water. Apex Legends comes out and boom, you've got like everybody talking about it, and then people are playing it, and now it's evolving even more. It's almost, because of the success of it, there's talks that they're going to greenlight a third game for Titanfall 3. And, you know, there's just so much to it. I think there is something to be said about some of these titles that are on the cusp of being something great or coming back into the forefront or the focal point of the community. You know, Glassy, could you see Gears of War being like having a BR mode? Or do you think it's one that just kind of, they shouldn't even put the resources into it?
I'm not honestly not sure, because it's just like you said from the beginning. This, whenever it comes to this, it's purely subjective at this point on where we're gonna go with this.
Yeah.
No, so it's like it makes it difficult to answer, especially for me, because like I've been so isolated to. I don't even play Battlefield. I never wanted to, and I didn't like the style of it. I like that you could blow buildings up. That was great, instead of other games where you could shoot the building and it doesn't do anything. So that was one thing, but I was never a fan of it. And then I got into Warzone. Warzone was actually my first BR. I never wanted to touch Fortnite because I'm an adult. So I don't know. That's just how I feel about that one. But, you know, speaking of, you know, BRs and Fortnite, they have Gears of War characters starting to come in there. I didn't know if you knew that.
Yeah. No, they do.
Yeah.
And that's part of the other reason why I was like, well, this would be kind of cool if they could do something like, for Gears of War, instead of just having characters available in Fortnite where they could, create a BR mode for, just the next generation of people for basically the next, Gears of War title. Like, could it launch with Gear 6? Gear 6 is its own thing, and then the BR is a part of that, or it's downloaded separately or whatever. I think that there's something to be said for BR, even though I don't play it much. I know you said, you don't play it much either, just because, I like other modes. You become accustomed to certain types of game modes and such. And it's not that I'm not open to playing, BR. It's kind of one of those game modes it's not for everybody. Let's put it that way. But with that being said, though, guys, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think is going to be the next big Battle Royale game? You think it's one of the ones that we were talking about, or you think it's going to be something else altogether? Let us know in the comment section down below. And for more Battle Royale content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.